Hi everyone, I'm Danielle with Trinity Readings, and I just want to talk to you a little bit today about what karma really is, or my understanding of karma. Okay, so karma is the consequences of the actions that you have taken. We tend to label karma as a bad thing or as a punishment when really what it is just the results of the path that we have chosen, right? Sometimes you are choosing a certain path because you are needing to learn some sort of lesson, or you're needing to have a better understanding, right? um, and sometimes you're choosing out of faith, sometimes you're choosing out of fear, sometimes you're choosing because you already have the understanding. But the karma is everything that happens as a result of what you chose. Okay. Past life karma is what your soul chose. It's a result of what your soul chose to come into this experience and learn. So it's not a punishment. It's not past life punishment. It's that your soul said, I want to have a deeper understanding of this. And in order to have a complete understanding of anything, you have to experience all sides of it, right? So it's not punishment. It's not that we're coming here to suffer. And karma isn't even really suffering. It's just the path that we chose to gain the understanding that we need. So if you're making choices because you are scared of something, then you're needing to learn a lesson on what it is that you're fearing, right? And it will appear to be difficult when you make a choice out of fear because you're supposed to be learning something. We don't learn things when it's easy. You know what I mean? So, karmic relationships, even, it's not that that person was meant to come into your life to destroy you. You chose that person. You choose to allow that person in, right? It's karmic, or it will last a long time. You will stay in a karmic cycle a long time because you are continuing to choose that karmic cycle. And you might not be consciously choosing it, but if you are acting out of the same fear, acting out of the same patterns, you are going to continue to keep going in the same cycle. The karmic cycle is still present because there's some aspect of that cycle and that path that you are still choosing because you haven't fully gained the lesson or the understanding. And if you can learn to look at it as a positive thing instead of a lesson because you've been bad, or a lesson because you've done wrong, or a lesson of having to deal with somebody else's wrongdoings, or you're being punished because you're not getting it. If you can let go of looking at it from that perspective and say, okay, I am in this cycle, I am dealing with this experience because I chose this. I chose this because I wanted to learn something. I'm wanting to understand something. And look at it in that aspect and see what it is that you're needing to learn and needing to understand. And then continuing to make different choices, to choose things that are not connected to this karma that you feel stuck to. The karma that we come into this life with, I wholeheartedly believe that the story of Adam and Eve is that Adam and Eve were in heaven. They were already in heaven. And they chose to come down to earth, which is hell, in order to learn a lesson, right? They were told that if you eat this fruit is bad. This fruit will bring punishment. But if you think of it, they had no concept of what bad or a punishment even was, right? And so they're choosing something that they don't understand and they want to have a better understanding of. But that comes with limitations. The limitations are necessary so you can slow down and learn and see everything. When you look at a clock, right? It's just moving around. You have no idea how that clock is moving and everything that is involved in making that clock run the way that it does. You couldn't just suddenly make a clock based on what you're seeing in the front of you, right? What shows, you know what I mean? Why can't I talk? And so that's what, our souls chose to come into this physical experience because we wanted to learn. And that's the karma that we bring into this lifetime. It's not a punishment. It's what we chose to learn. We wanted to understand on a deeper level. And if we came into this earth and everything was easy and we didn't have any issues, we would have no understanding, right? We wouldn't have a deep understanding. We wouldn't be able to appreciate things in the depth that we do. We wouldn't be able to love in the depth that we do because we would only be seeing one side of it. You know what I mean? When you truly love a person, you have to be able to love both sides of them. There's going to be a side of that person that isn't necessarily the most ideal thing in your world. But love is learning to love both sides of it. That's what karma is. That's what your lesson is you are being put in this space that you perceive to be difficult because you're needing to learn something. And the struggle or the conflict or everything that frustrates you is the very things that are going to help you learn, right? And the reason that we will continue to get stuck in the same types of negative cycles, the reason that it seems that we haven't cleared our karma yet or we haven't cleared this lesson yet, is because the choices that we are making in the present moment are based on past choices, are based on fear, are based on anything that is not love, anything that is not faith. So we make choices out of fear. We make choices out of insecurity. We make choices because our ego wants validation. We make choices because we feel shameful, because we feel guilt. We make choices because this is just how it's always been done. We make choices because we just want to feel comfortable, right? We're not making choices with the intention to grow. And choices based on the intention to grow would be based on love, would be based on faith, would be based on inspiration, would be based on creativity, right? And so if you can keep that in mind, to be mindful of the choices that you're making on a day-to-day basis. And even in regards to like what you're choosing to focus on, what you're choosing to give energy to, who you're choosing to support, all of those choices, every single choice that you're making is going to have some level of consequence, whether that be good or bad, right? And it's not just a matter of doing things because you think that that's the right thing to do. It's about making sure that the choices that you're making aren't based out of fear, insecurity, anxiety, anger, depression. And trying to make sure that when you are making choices and decisions, that you're doing whatever you can do to raise your energy up to the feeling of love and peace and joy and gratitude, right? And that way you ensure that the consequences of that action are going to be consequences that bring blessings, abundance, more peace, more joy, and that you've learned a lesson, right? I hope that makes sense.